So now we're going to look at a few, if you're going to do coilovers, we're going to look at a few brace points. It's an absolute must if you do coilovers all around on the car. One of the drop, they really don't, for some reason they don't recommend you putting coilovers on the rear of your car if you're going to be not tracking the car, road coursing the car, because I'm gonna tell you, when you put coilovers on the rear of this thing, you don't have that much articulation when you're like going into a drive that's sort of at a crazy angle. And it's not too bad if you have a like a diff with limited slip of LSD dip in the car, or a Detroit locker or something. Not a posi, but you know, where you can have a little bit of grip, a little bit of slip on that wheel if you have to have it. But now I'm gonna tell you where it doesn't work out if you got coilovers on the rear of this thing. If you have an open diff, which I hope a lot of you guys are not running that open diff on your car, because not to mention you're losing traction, and if you drag race the car, you're losing some ET times, because that one wheel will just spin, and the other wheel is just along for the ride. So when you turn to go in a drive that's sort of at a crazy angle, that one wheel is just going to spin, and that's because those coilovers have it sort of stiff. That's why they recommend that you usually put a spring on the back of these things instead of coilovers. But personally, I like the coilovers because coilovers, it makes the car handle different, makes it feel stiffer. Not stiffer in a bad way, but stiffer in a good way. So next, I'm going to show you some brace points. What is an absolute must if you're going to have coilovers on these things. Okay, one of the brace points is absolute must. Remember that when you go coilovers, you're putting all the weight is on the shock tower or the strut tower. On the rear of this car, the shock tower needs to be braced up with some type of brace. Preferably one that you can adjust, where you can actually push the shock towers out so that can support the load. You want to have them pushed out when you have the car up in the air, so once you put a load on it, it'll actually come back to like where it was pretty much set up at the factory. I can't remember the name of this one. It's a pretty good one, pretty solidly built. It bolts down to the trunk floor and to the top of the shock tower, and this bar is adjustable, so you can put tension on it if you have to. I'm gonna see if I can find the paperwork on when I ordered this years ago, and then I'll put it up, post it down below. And also on the front, you want to have some type of shock tower brace on the front. This one is a Maximum Motorsports one. Those guys are the best when it comes to, there's other guys out there, but those guys have been messing around with Foxbodies for a long time, pretty much ever since they brought them out in 79 or 78. So you can look them up online, but I'll put the part number to this one if you want to get it. Because just like I said, once again, you want to push those shock towers out. And the way you install this thing is you jack the car up on the center of the K-member, let the wheels hang down. Then you install this brace in and drill your holes with the wheels off the ground. So that way the shock towers are pushed out. And then you install it, and then you drop the car down. Tighten everything up before you drop it down. And you should have the shock towers pretty much in the factory position when the car was first built. Now we're going to get the car up in the air. We're going to go over a few more things underneath the car that I've installed to try to help this thing handle better and joy to drive. Okay, these coilovers are same Maximum Motorsports setup about years ago for the car. They're pretty good. Only thing I don't like about them, which I didn't know at the time, I wish I would have got something that had, you want to at least spend your money good on these things. Get some that have at least two-way adjustable ones, or a four-way, or some of them have like more than that. But a two-way adjustable should be good. I wish these were two-way. They're one-way. They're compression only, not rebound. So if you get coilovers that have rebound and compression adjustments, you should be pretty good. It give you a smooth ride because you can adjust how fast that tire returns and how slow it compresses. So that's the adjustments you really want to look out for, the rebound and compression. So if you got those double adjustment coilovers, or double adjustable coilovers, that's good. And these are one way, but the only thing about these, to adjust these, you got to take them off the car because it's a little pin you got to push down on top of the shock body, and then you have to turn it, which sucks. So you want to get the ones that have the adjustment knob on the outside where you can access it. So if you're at the track, road course, if you need to stiffen it up, soften it up, you can just crawl underneath and tweak it. This, of course, you can't. You got to take it off the car. Sucks. Panhard bar. Yes. Foxbody Mustangs should have came from the factory with some type of panhard bar on it, because these things, a live axle car has its own characteristics as far as handling wise. I know a lot of older viewers out there that's watching that owned Fox bodies and older cars, even up to the new Edge and the SN95 body style. They had a live axle in them. So they just recently in 2014, 2015 went to a, besides the 2003 Cobra, those have independent suspension in rear, but a live axle car will bite you in the butt if you don't have experience driving one, especially if you throw a lot of power at it. Because what these things will do, if you hit a bump, you're going around a curve, you hit a bump, it will actually send both wheels will leave the pavement. So it's going to go up and it's going to kick out. So if you're not expecting it to do that, it's going to be a handful, especially on full throttle when you're coming out of a corner. But what this panhard bar does, it sort of keeps the axle centered underneath the car. As the car goes up, it don't let the axle shift over. It sort of keeps it traveling in a straight up and down motion instead of like up and over. It's just straight up and down. Now, other than a panhard bar, and this is a Maximum Motorsport piece also, other than a panhard bar, what would be better than that would be a Watts link. And I will put a link down below where you guys can go and check out what a Watts link is and how it works. But it's actually better than a panhard bar because it actually sort of keeps the axle really centered because it's attached on both sides. So the axle is sort of locked in a position where it really cannot move left or right, just up and down like it should. And another thing you want to have, especially if you lower the car, you want to have some adjustable upper links. You want to, which these are Maximum Motorsports also, you want to get rid of those stamped steel lower control arms on the rear, because those things are too flimsy. You don't want those on the car, especially if you're going to be throwing some power at it. And if you're going to be road coursing the car. And of course, I'm going to do something, I'll probably shoot another video on the torque box reinforcements, because you want to reinforce those torque boxes on these things. Because I'm going to tell you, buddy, if you throw some power at it, put some big fat sticky, these are not slicks, but you put some on the car, you're gonna rip those things right out, and you're gonna be driving over your rear end in your car. Another thing, of course, every Foxbody guy knows about subframe connectors. I'm not gonna spend much time on those. You want to get, if you're gonna lower the car, what you want to do is you want to get some that is actually not too bulky. You want to get some where you can have some ground clearance, because remember, you're going to be lowering that car down lower, so you don't want to get no 4-inch boxed subframe connectors, because they're gonna, I mean, yeah, it's gonna make the car stiff as it can possibly be, but then you're gonna sacrifice ground clearance. So, you know, each to its own. I personally like the low profile ones because this car is lowered, and I haven't had a real problem out of them. And another thing is K-member connectors, because just like I said, once you move the load from the factory position, all kinds of crazy things start going on, because you're actually changing the geometrics or actually changing the geometry of the front suspension on the car. So originally those springs set in the lower control arm, now you have them, I mean, originally the weight of the vehicle was out on the lower control arms, but now you have it out on the shock tower. So that's where all the weight's being supported at. And sway bars, you want to get a sway bar that's this one's a bit overkill, so you want to get one that's, no, you can get adjustable ones, but you don't have to go out and get the biggest one they make. This one's a little overkill. Just like I said, originally my original plans for this car is to autocross it, or like time attack trials on a road course, something like that. That's why I was really concentrating on the going mostly for the suspension on this thing. And of course I got a rear sway bar on this sucker too, both are the same manufacturer. So, but like I said, you don't have to get the biggest, fattest sway bar you can find. You can just get one that's rated for what you're trying to do. But they're nice to have on the car, because trust me, going around a corner, if you don't have any type of thing to stiffen this thing up, keep it flat, it's going to be crazy. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. If you got any comments, drop them down below. Remember to tune in for the next video. My next video I'm probably going to put up is probably going to be either about the alignment on the car, how I have it set up, or maybe the more about the wheels and the brakes on the car. So thanks for watching, guys and gals. Have a good evening.